show rolling. This next comic coming up to the stage, she once visited a psychic who told her she wasn't supposed to be born. Please welcome Rachel Wolf, everybody. Give it up for Rachel Wolf. Keep it going, watch it, keep it straight.
Totally true story, but I gotta give you some background to that before we get into the story. I was born and brainwashed and raised in a fundamentalist doomsday religious cult. So when I went to the psychic and she said you shouldn't have been born, I'm like, yeah, no shit. So then I called my mom because I'd never heard about this, right? And I'm like, hey mom, did something happen like in the birthing process with me? Am I like, what happened? And she's like, oh no, you were fine, you're fine. I'm like, are you sure? Because I went to a psychic and she told me that I shouldn't be alive. And she goes, oh, that's right. She's like, I remember now. I had the monitor strapped to my belly to monitor your heart rate, and then your heart rate went crazy. So they had to do an emergency C-section. They found out that the umbilical cord was wrapped around your neck. That was my first suicide attempt. When I was in this cult, I was born and raised in it, okay? So from birth until 18, when I was legal, I left it. I learned a lot about life in it, a lot about sex. Learned that I was actually supposed to, no, I fucked that up, oh my god. I'm under stress because there's so many people here. You guys are a great crowd too. Okay. So let me go on with what I really want to talk about today is because I was born and raised in a cult, I tend to attract crazy people in my life. It's just something that happens. They told me I was chosen, so I assume I'm chosen to attract crazy fucked up people in my life. I was once tried to be kidnapped. Once. That's not really a joke, it's just an awful fact. I went on a first date and he took me to an S&M trade show. And then last week, I was really excited because something happened last week. I'm like, finally, because I've been doing stand-up and I've just been talking about the past, like my childhood, because everybody's fascinated. Tell us more, what happened, we're going to compound, yeah. So I'm like, finally something happened last week that I can actually incorporate into my stand-up. I drive around LA for a living, doing, not Uber, but like other stuff. So I was hungry, I went into a Jack in the Box to try to get lunch and go to the bathroom. And this is a little bit of a story, so just bear with me. I'm waiting for the bathroom, it's being used, occupied, and I'm waiting, and you know how we all are, ladies, we listen a little bit to see, is there someone really in there, or am I just going to stand here for a long time? Nothing was happening, I didn't hear anything, and I just kept standing there. Finally, the door opened, and a man walked out. A crazy, batshit, crazy-looking man walked out. He looked like a mix between Gary Busey and the Son of Sam. And he had a look on his face like, I'm gonna fuck shit up. I was like, okay, do I go in the bathroom now or not? But I decided to, so I went back, decided to go to the bathroom. I go in there, and first thing I think is, okay, let's look for any drug paraphernalia so I don't, prick myself with a needle because that's where my mind goes. But no, it was clean, it was fine. Finally, I'm like, okay, this is good, it's fine. Then I look on the wall, and he gave a little bit of advice to us ladies, just so you guys know. The advice was, your ass is meant to be stretched. This is what I come across in my life. Normal people, they just go through life, oh, everything's great. Me, I run into this kind of serial rapist. And then I left, I should have taken pictures. I know everybody's like, did you take a picture? And I'm like, no, I forgot, because I was too worried about my safety. So then I left, and so of course I tell the manager, you might want to go scrub because he also said you're a whore. If you want a good time with a big Mexican dick, please call 323-569-HELP. So ladies, there's a phone number for you if you'd like. So anyway, I went and told the manager, did all that. But after I left, even more messed up in my mind from the cult living, I realized that when I left the bathroom, I had programmed in my head where everybody was sitting in that building. I programmed who was sitting where. I can tell you what they were wearing. what ethnicity they were, what color hair they have, I would be the ultimate witness for the police department. And I'm like, I left, and I'm like, wait a second, normal people don't do that, Rachel. That is what the cult has given me in my life. So I figured everybody wants to know about the cult, so let me tell you a little bit about it. It was called Worldwide Church of God. His name was Herbert W. Armstrong. Some of you older folks, it was also called the Radio Church of God, if you've heard of that, because it started here in Pasadena. It was a cult because we were required to tithe. And I like to say that he started the religion himself. He created it, and he created it out of two books that you all know about, the Old Testament Bible and Hitler's Mein Kampf. Honestly, he thought Hitler's Mein Kampf was a pretty good idea. Okay? And he's the one that taught me about sex. Yeah. He had a flog log. Does anyone know what a flog log is? Anyone? No? And it's not the flog log you think of when you hear flog log. For him, the flog log was a written journal of every time he touched his private parts. He wrote it down, and he made it was like a memorialization of every time he touched his man junk. And because he was so obsessed with it, we as women were not allowed to wear makeup. Have you ever seen a group of women without makeup on? Have you seen The Walking Dead? Yeah. And then one time when I was 14, he changed the doctrine for some reason, always flip-flop. He's like, just kidding, you can wear makeup. And all the women were like, yes, finally. So they all raced out to the makeup counters, buying all this makeup. And the next week at services, a bunch of clowns showed up. None of them know how to put it on. I couldn't hold hands with my boyfriend, and I wasn't allowed to date outside the cult. When I couldn't hold hands with my boyfriend, he was only allowed to pin me down, and I was only allowed to struggle. It's okay, you can laugh at that. Okay. I give permission to laugh at this dark jokes because I know they're dark. Everyone's like, Rachel, you need to talk about this. I'm like, it's dark. People aren't going to laugh at this. I'm like, how are they going to relate? And let me give you an example. So I learned a lot about how to be a really good wife in the cult. Okay? And I learned that, and I realized a few things about it this past Thanksgiving when I realized that I actually defend abusers. And I'm like, holy fuck, I defend them. What the hell is that? More, brainwashing. So I'm going to give you ladies more tips, like the man in the bathroom at Jack in the Box, on how you can be a really great wife. When he yells at you, just agree with him. You're a fucking slut. Yes, I am. You are correct. It's not rape if you enjoy it. Okay, that's a good one. That's a really good one. That's a good one. And when it goes to your throat, just lean into it, because it'll be over soon. I'm telling you, they're dark. And I'll reiterate, it was a doomsday religious cult, so I didn't think I'd be alive by now. So, I am grateful to be here. It's awesome. And so now every time when I hear preachers and crazy people be like, it's the end time, the world's going to collide. I'm like, finally, yes! I have rapture parties. I mean, it's like the best time in my life. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Rachel Wolf, everybody!